questions or thoughts?
No, it's been very interesting today.
What's been interesting?
Just the whole process of internalization and question answering and how to, move within a dimension. It's refreshing because it kind of takes me back to some of the other discussions we've had years ago.
Right. So do you know, like, does everybody know that I will remember something about this conversation in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? I'll never forget this. And I learned this skill from my 4 daughters, but I apply it, every single day. So does anybody know, and this is the stuff that just moves people. Like Tom, you'll love Jacqueline. She's amazing. It's insane. She is insane. And so when I told her about the moment when you went ahead and said something about the 530 grid, and you're like, Mark, do you know what you have here? I'm like, I think so. And you're like, I don't think you do. I'm like, okay, what do I have? You're like, the holy grail of business? I shared that story with her. And she thought that was the coolest thing on the planet. So does anyone know what I will walk away and I don't have to write it down, but I'll never forget it?
No, what?
It's what Tom said about the picture of the photographer. I'll never forget that story. I'll never forget that situation and the meaning that it had to Tom, ever.
You should look him up. Platon. Platon.
Cool. So I had a similar situation like that with Alan and Nancy Stein. They took us out to one of their, one of their clients, and the guy brought in a book about color and painting. And when I watched the husband and the wife and Alan and Nancy talk about painting and how colors and light connects through the colors that create, it was like, I'm like, you're kidding. Like, I never knew that about painting. Like, that's the coolest thing on the planet. And then, so I'll connect it to that one because that was life-changing. And then I'll connect it to my daughter who's getting married in May. And she's a photographer. And when I saw her pictures in high school, I saw pictures like I'd never seen, photography before. It was a way for me to connect with my daughter in a way, and my daughter-in-law too. She's big into photography. So now it's like you can see into their heart and their soul through their photography. It's the craziest thing. It's unbelievable. It's like a picture into their soul of a photographer or a painter.
I told Donna, after seeing what I saw, that's my next career.
Huh. That's so awesome. That is so awesome. Ski, any thoughts, questions you have?
I'm sure I will have some, but not at this point.
Okay. Peter, any questions, thoughts you have?
No, it's actually been good to actually write down what I think are key generic questions or reminders.
Cool. Nicole, any questions, thoughts you have?
Yeah, I'm actually thinking a lot about lead generation lately. And what's the best approach? So, I'm trying to think of my question. What are your experiences with that?
So what I would recommend is brainstorming all the different ways that you have lead generation, put them into a Google spreadsheet, and then open them up to the Leverage network and saying, here's some thoughts that I have for lead generation. I'd love your thoughts on it.
Okay.
What business you in?
So I work for Tanglewood Conservatories.
Oh.
We design and build luxury glass architecture.
Rosanna, what would you like to accomplish?
I don't have anything right now, but it was very interesting.
What was interesting about it?
Well, the pictures, the writing things down, it's very connected with what you do in your journals and stuff. And I've been doing a little jotting here and there, and I can see the ones that draw me back to look at it again is the ones that have the pictures and the things that I wrote down from dated it, so I know like where it lays and find things.
Cool. Peter, are you going to join the 30-minute strategy session for certification through Wizardry?
When is it?
Well, it's on Wednesdays at 9:30 Eastern Time for a half an hour, but it's recorded, and so you can listen to it anytime. You don't have to be live to go through it. So it's a half an hour of instruction a week, and then it's a half an hour of application, which might be reading, it might be a white paper, it might be a workbook, it might be something else, or it might be just taking 30 minutes of your day and applying what it is that you're learning. So it might not be an additional 30 minutes. It might be applying what you're doing, further.
Right. Well, send me the link. I'm traveling a lot the next 3 weeks, so I may be able to make the 9:30 depending on where I am. But if I've got the links to the recordings, then I'll try and do one or the other.
So can somebody translate that for me, for Peter?
Send the link to him.
So I think it's yes. I think that's what he said. He's going to do it. And Peter, just to make sure, I know this is not a big deal for you, but just to make sure, you're familiar with what the cost of that certification is, right?
$50 million.
$50 million, right. I didn't think it'd be a problem. I just want to make sure that you were clear. So, good. Okay. Anyone else have any other questions or thoughts? So Peter and Tom, you guys have traveled all around the world. You've been through a lot of certifications, and you've seen a lot. Have you ever seen anything that's ever cost $50 million to become certified in something?
I haven't. No.
Okay, I haven't either. I mean, I was a little cynical. I've been a little cynical about that. I'm like, $50 million. Like Mike Ratchford, when I told him that today, he's like, yeah, you're going to have a lot of takers on that. I'm like, yeah, no, there's already 7 people signed up. He couldn't believe it. It's pretty interesting. Anyone else have anything else? There's 2 other things I could go over. One is SCORE and the 4,500 plus Chamber of Commerce. So Peter and Tom, do you both see how having access into 4,500 Chamber of Commerces around the country could be good for both of what you guys are doing?
For anybody.
Right. But very few people, Tom, see that because most people are regional, so they're just in their own city, and so they don't see they don't have a national or a world presence. They don't know how to make money, anything other than local.
I deal with that concept every day.
Yep.
Because I'm an international franchisor, but I only see what's in front of me in my little shop in my little city.
Huh. So there's that piece, and then the other piece that I'm working on is clarity, engineered clarity. And so what I did is and again, if you guys have to take off, you can. For engineered clarity, that was the missing link. Like that's what I've been looking for the last 10 years. Those two words. So what I did is to leverage it. What I did is I borrowed, because I'm like, I don't want to create a new model. Like, man, I got too many models. So what I did is I just borrowed the leverage model. And I just changed the top two, unclear, to engineered clarity. Ask questions, listen, see. And then rather than intentions, what are the true intentions, like the intentions of the heart? And then think, and then capability. And like Tom said, it's not our capability, it's everybody around us capability. And then step 6, we swap that out to internalization. So what I need to do this week is I need to take that one segment of internalization, and I need to go ahead and take what Peter said, what Tom said, and what the others have all said, and I need to go ahead and come up with a sub for internalization. So I understand what Peter said, and I understand what Tom said, but there's more to it than that, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to make it much more complex, and then I'm going to have to go from simple to complex to simple to complex again and again until it's refined down, really, really tight. And so that's going to be engineered clarity. And so that's going to be a white paper that's going to connect out, and that connects everything in. And so engineered clarity, I'm thinking, originally we were thinking about that for action vision, but I think it's way bigger than action vision. So it's almost like a good housekeeping seal of approval. And so engineered clarity will be like a certification. Like, is your product, is your service certified in engineered clarity? Like, have you simplified it down so much to where you've made it easy? Questions or thoughts? Cool. So, Peter and Tom, the engineered clarity, I'd love to have feedback on that. I mean, just, anything you got once that's done. And then the score plus the Chamber plus Life Masteries Institute, that white paper. Again, any feedback you'd have. And then the newest site that's being developed is clarity.dna4success.com. So what it's doing is the goal is to go ahead. one other thing real quick. Saturday, we had like an experience that I've always known was possible, but I've never had before. Jason Miller, he invited somebody from a leader from the youth group to do the mobile app. And she was blown away. Like, she got on Saturday's call, and she was absolutely just, like, she was just, like, mesmerized. And it didn't have any of my videos in it. It had 1 minute MVP video, so 17 seconds. And then a 1 minute video, another 1 minute video, and a third 1 minute video. So in 3 minutes and 17 seconds, she was mesmerized by it. She was stunned, blown away. She couldn't believe how accurate it was. I mean, she was just like I've never experienced anything so fast and so accurate. And so we're doing case studies every Saturday at 8 o'clock Central Time, so 9 Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific Time. And so there's a case study out there that Matt Maple is doing on recruiting. And so he's customized the mobile app to recruit people for the company he's with. Last week was a case study on partnerships, community business partnerships, and how do you do them. So Life Masteries and Life GPS, they're building this case study library that if you're not able to participate in Saturday's call, you can go ahead and participate. You can go online and get them. So it's really... So the test is working. Like, I don't need to be involved to make it work. And it has the same effect that I have on people, but in less time. And it's clonable. And it'll work anything, anywhere. It's crazy. So thank you, Tom, for, moving that along when we were in Nashville, and you said, Mark, have you ever thought about putting personality masteries into a mobile app? As a matter of fact, Tom, I have, but I don't know. And you're like, man, that would be so cool. That'd be so cool if that. And so it's been a long journey between then and now, but now is here, and it's really neat on everything that can happen as a result of it. All right, thanks, everyone. Have a blessed day.
Talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye. We'll see you.